What's up, folks? So I want to talk about toxic people and their effects that are negative on your body, signs that your body is going to give you about being around the energy of a toxic person. And it can be toxic that they are just really negative, or it could be imperative you get away from them because they're abusive or they're narcissistic or they're bullying. You can look for these signs in both you and your children. I will say this, that holistic counseling encompasses spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional health. And I got into it because of myself. And I did what most adults will often do. And I'm going to give you the differences between adults and children. Adults will often have access to money, cars, jobs. They will often go to the drugs and alcohol side of things, maybe gambling. They will form addictions, whereas children who are victims of bullying and abuse will often go into deep depression. So that's usually or aggression. You've got aggression and depression that you will see in children who are victims of bullying and abuse. You've got addictions that you're going to see in adults usually. So, and there's more signs that I'm going to give you, but a friend of mine, and I've said this a lot, that worked in a rehab, said he had never seen a woman come into there addicted, that he had pulled into. He was the guy that would go in the middle of the night and help people, save their kids if they'd OD'd or whatever. But he had never seen a woman come into the program that had not been a victim of abuse. So some big hard facts is that adults will gravitate towards addiction. Some will unalive themselves, but oftentimes they will gravitate towards addiction, whereas children will gravitate towards aggression and depression, and sadly will take the road out of unaliving themselves. So let me give you some signs and symptoms to look for, whether it's in yourself, your family members, or your children. So rapid weight gain or loss. Oftentimes people dealing with abuse or bullying or toxic people will begin to eat their emotions. This is crucial. If you start to see someone pick up a pace, especially a child, in their eating habits for no reason, they're waking up in the middle of the night, they're overindulging, or they're not eating as much, obviously, or they're having a lot of diarrhea. That's signs that they're being affected negatively. Drained energy. Lots of kids that used to have interest in sports or got out and played with other kids, and now they just don't feel like it. They just don't have the heart to. They're drained. Fun things like going outside and kicking a ball, riding bikes with friends, going to the park, being involved in, like I said, sports. Drained because their energy is being zapped. That's what toxic people do. They actually look, because they don't have it in and of themselves. They look to drain energy from other people. So when they become these energy vampire drainers from harassing each other, like harassing someone or stalking someone or hitting someone, they're looking for that reaction. And if you ever want to talk about how to start becoming more emotionally bulletproof, you can alchemize that. You can overcome that, but children cannot, sadly. Adults can get to a place of maturity where they understand what it is and not react most times. Children cannot. They don't understand, and they're not to be left to the wolves, so to speak. They're to be protected. But their drained energy would be a sign. Bloating, excessive production of cortisol, and bloating is going to come with that naturally. Your gut is going to be affected. That's going to produce other things that I've talked about before, the imbalance in the gut, and that will also lead to cognitive dissonance, being unable to make clear cognitive decisions because of the cortisol and the overproduction of cortisol and adrenaline. So you're going to have unclear thinking, foggy thinking. At school, can't think straight. Marks for not being able to understand the text. That's one. Unclear thinking and bloating, so the gut-brain axis is affected. Anxiousness and nervousness, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Whether it's adults or children that are constantly biting their nails, that are are constantly feeling like the next bad thing's fixing to happen, that are constantly unsure of tomorrow, that are always just, looking around the next corner. I have one daughter that she confides in me, and this is one of the things she deals with due to the trauma we've experienced, is never knowing when the next bad thing's going to happen, because this poor child's been woken up in the middle of the night to help find mama a phone because it was broken, because all these crazy things happened in the middle of the night, and it's like wham, wham, what's going to happen next? Well, think about the child that's walking down the hallway and all of a sudden they get gut punched, or they get slammed their head in the locker. All these things, this trauma stays with you. So anxiousness, nervousness, anxiety, ADHD. Another one is unexplained swelling. So if you're having some unexplained swelling, not due to the excess of, say, alcohol or salt intake, unexplained swelling is a trauma response, and that is definitely a sign of being around toxic people. The next one is self-esteem, maybe being hunched over, maybe not carrying oneself upright, maybe kind of walking with a limp, or walking down and sad and looking at the ground. But self-esteem issues, and over apologizing because they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're being told that they're not good enough. They're being told that, the problems are all their fault. And someone has projected their own insecurities onto them. And that's, again, children or adults. And the next one, and one of the most important signs to look for, because this one is going to lead to chronic disease, is pain. Pain in the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the stomach, the sacral or the root chakras. Those are really where you feel it, but you can actually, there's the neurological disorders that develop from stress, such as MS. All right, sorry about that. So pain is a sign in any area in your body that you may have trapped emotions, that you may be dealing with someone that is abusive or toxic, or your children may be. So pain can get trapped in the 7 chakras, but you could also be dealing with things like arthritis, neurological disorders that are painful in nature, such as chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome tends to align more with abusive and narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships than any other. Many women, here's a statistic for you. The number one reason for disability in women in America is depression. So what later transfers into mental problems first starts out as usually abusive, toxic, bullying, narcissistic situations. And down the road, these people end up with addictions, mental issues, depression, things like that. So whether it's an adult or a child, these are the things that you can look out for and try to recognize if someone is actually dealing with abuse or bullying or toxic people. Children will often have that, depression and aggression. Adults will often turn towards addiction, even if it's something they never did before in their life. And those other signs. So I do holistic counseling, and I'm going to be putting this video up on both YouTube and TikTok. And if you're interested, you can reach out. I'm going to do a video to reset your entire body and to help the system clean up, probably tomorrow. I'll do a video tomorrow on resetting the entire body system. It'll encompass a fast and a gut cleanse, but I'm going to do a video on how you can do that almost for very little money, if not for free. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that helps you recognize signs of abuse that are becoming physical in your body.